unique part about New York City is that we're kind of stacked on top of each other. That really starts to percolate, boils together inside this melting pot and delivers restaurants that provide unique experiences that you're not going to get anywhere else but in New York City.
Este mês, a autoproclamada capital do mundo vai enverdar por uma experiência culinária que vai comemorar a mais americana das tradições. Essa tradição é conhecida como o Dia da Independência, o 4 de julho. É aqui, na cidade onde reina o capitalismo, que várias das culturas trazidas por imigrantes se fundem com as expectativas do Upper East Side e dão origem a pratos novos e inebriantes. Michael White, um chefe com 2 estrelas Michelin, vai encontrar-se com os magnatas e com as pessoas excêntricas e impetuosas que impulsionam o mercado culinário com mais concorrência do mundo.
You could put these on the plate, just a little bit of sea salt and olive oil.
É realmente verdade que quem tem sucesso cá tem sucesso em qualquer lado. Numa cidade de imigrantes em que muitas das pessoas que cá vivem não nasceram cá, há uma verdade em que quem para cá vem acredita piamente.
New York is the greatest city in the world. There's a certain feel about New York City that keeps me pumped up, and the grit and the competition.
Michael White chegou a Nova York vindo do Wisconsin, um estado do centro-oeste famoso pelos seus laticínios, e é agora conhecido em todo o mundo por ser o chefe do Alta Mareia Group, que tem 15 restaurantes espalhados por Nova York, Londres, Hong Kong e Istambul. De entre os mesmos, o mais adorado é o Mareia, e a sua joia da coroa, localizada em Central Park South, Manhattan, continua a ser o local de eleição de Michael.
There are upwards of 25,000 restaurants in the 5 boroughs. New Yorkers really live their life outside of their apartment, so restaurants are a key component to the New York lifestyle. In every quadrant of the city, there's a great Chinese restaurant, there's a great Thai restaurant, there's a pretty damn good Italian restaurant. Not like Maria. We're making traditional soup dumplings here.
Os donos dos demais restaurantes da cidade são, por um lado, concorrência e, por outro, amigos de Michael. No entanto, revelam sempre uma grande fonte de inspiração.
I think about food in a very, very different way. So wherever I go, I seek inspiration. I might see something that is plated in a certain fashion that sparks a thought. And that's why going out to eat is so important for chefs. It doesn't matter what you eat. It's kind of like my mom used to say, it doesn't matter what you read, as long as you're reading.
Na opinião de Michael, o Katz's é um restaurante judeu que proporciona uma experiência incomparável.
Walk into Katz's and you get the ticket, you go through the turnstile. This is the old flavor, the old feel of New York. And as you look throughout the pictures, the floor, it hasn't been changed. It's timeless. This all builds up to the taste memory. Having a black cherry soda, having a knish, the steak fries. These are all kind of the sensory overload.
So you need a heavy hot dog. That's what makes it better, juicy on the inside. That nice snap. Yeah, right on.
A especialidade do Katz's é o seu pastrami servido bem quente.
Juan Carlos.
Nice, beautiful
Let me see it,
pastrami
baby.
right there. Look at that. That's a wonderful piece right there. Look at that.
I just love that noise. It's a quintessential,
The knife on the fork.
You bet.
Wow. You taste that black pepper, it's steamy, it's glistening, there's lipids, it's shiny.
It's a nice slow smoke process. What more can you do to a piece of meat, right?
São estes momentos a que Michael chama memórias gustativas que despertam a sua criatividade.
When I go to Southeast Asia, if I'm going to Katz's, wherever I go, it has nothing to do with Italian food, but it's a taste memory and it's a profile that I have back in my head. If you told somebody that you took them to Katz's Deli, then they'll obviously gonna say you did good.
Na zona norte de Manhattan, as fontes de inspiração são outras e a tradição dá lugar à transformação. Nesta zona, a autenticidade é descartada e é substituída pelos mais criativos pratos cantoneses de Nova York.
Hey, Michael. How are you?
Good to see you.
Welcome to Red Farm.
Thank you.
Red Farm grabs things from Chinatown in New York City. It's very much how I approach my Italian food. I gravitate towards that.
Put 2 eyes here.
At the same time, it's progressive.
Bolinhos de camarão inspirados no Pac-Man, servidos com crepes em forma de flor.
We're starting to see now more creativity. Joe, for instance, is fantastic at marinating and grilling protein. He's taken and married the old Cantonese techniques for tenderizing meat, which are different than everyone else's. And he's applied that to prime beef and duck breast.
My father told me years ago, I like to watch somebody do anything that they're very good at. And it's not only the technique, but it's also the ingredients.
It's also the hospitality. It's cultivating your customers. It's making them feel comfortable.
I have an old adage, and I've said it forever, but people want to eat truffles and blue jays.
No Marea, o seu restaurante, Michael inspira-se no que vê na rua e cria pratos italianos que possuem o seu cunho e que aliam familiaridade, formalidade, criatividade e ingredientes que nos reconfortam.
My idea of Italian food is rooted in tradition. Growing up in the Midwest, the ethnic food of choice is Italian food, and it still is to this day. I really enjoyed going out and having spaghetti and have those sensory experiences, the taste memories of having this overly garlic pasta with parsley and this very salty pecorino cheese of not very good quality. It's these types of experiences that really cemented the flavors and smells of Italian food in me, and it's never left.
O Marea é conhecido em todo o mundo por algo em específico.
Making pasta, flour and egg and the flavor, the smell of pasta, being able to get your hands dirty, going through the machine, rolling it by hand, it's limitless. It has a flavor that si richiama Roma. It calls Rome. Having lived in Italy, being married to an Italian, the flavor profiles that are embedded in this palate, I like to say that this is all bought and paid for. In each and every region of Italian food, there is different nuances. Just 10 kilometers away, they'll do a ragu different. They'll cook something in a different way. They might use red wine, white wine. And it's these flavors and smells that make Italian food what it is. I really have the ability to cook from the top of Italy to the bottom in Sicily. I'm never at a loss with the Italian playbook.
A abordagem e os valores de Michael vieram criar um novo movimento culinário em Nova Iorque. E é dessa forma que o setor da restauração desta cidade muda, se altera e renasce.
I wouldn't say there's a New York cuisine, but there definitely is a New York feel to the restaurant.
Os grandes pintores possuem aprendizes que dão continuidade aos seus movimentos artísticos. E isso é algo que também acontece no caso dos maiores chefes de Nova Iorque.
When a young person works in a restaurant, they really hone their skills, they're very impressionable, and then go on and work for another person. And then they'll mold that together and unique experiences from 2 or 3 different New York chefs, and then start to birth restaurants. There's a ripple effect, and so that starts to determine the kind of food that's going to be played out over the course of a few years.
São essas influências e junções que fazem de Nova Iorque aquilo que ela é e que dão origem aos seus períodos culinários. Neste momento encontramos-nos no período de Michael White. Já a seguir, vamos descobrir qual a relação entre um chefe, um agricultor e um banquete de 4 de julho. Há um lugar comum que afirma que Nova Iorque é a cidade que nunca dorme. Mas a verdade é que, tal como todas as cidades, possui menos movimento durante a madrugada. As ruas esvaziam-se, os clientes vão embora e os bares passam a ter menos pessoas. Mas para quem se dedica a aventuras culinárias, a noite é a altura de maior azáfama.
Those trucks are loading at 3, 4 in the morning so they can be here. I have people here at Marea already at 6 a.m. Receiving product.
O chefe Michael White aproveita a noite para visitar os seus fornecedores.
I don't know what to order until I finish service. I have to make a phone call at the end of service because one never knows what they're going to use and run out of.
Hoje, Michael vai visitar os La Frieda, os fornecedores de carne de eleição dos chefes nova-iorquinos que se dedicam à alta cozinha. É aos mesmos que Michael vai comprar a carne de vaca para o seu banquete do 4 de julho.
Familiar smell to you? Wow, it smells great.
You know, one could say it's almost confrontational. You know, the smells, your olfactory, you're smelling blood. Going in and being in the dry aging room, it smells almost like blue cheese. The perfumes, it just gets me going.
We're keeping the temperature down, keeping the humidity between, say, 60 and 80%. That's really, really key where we want to be. But what it leaves behind is that real tender, condensed beef flavor. I always describe it as like a cooked butter corn. Sure.
Grande parte da carne maturada é mantida nas arcas frigoríficas durante 21 dias. Aqui chega a estar 70 dias.
That's what we're looking for here.
It starts to turn a bit white.
Turns a bit white, so you start to get some of the salts come to the outside.
The amount of meat that they are handling on a nightly basis, it's a massive scale, but they really specialize in quality, small farm. When you say that this steak is aged by Pat LaFrieda, that's a mark of excellence.
Para chegar a este santuário dos carnívoros, basta atravessar o rio Hudson através do Lincoln Tunnel e dirigir-se a Nova Jersey. Lá encontrará muito mais do que arcas frigoríficas.
The action, you could see them filleting the meat, the cleaning, butchering, bandsaw, and I'm in my element when I'm at LaFrieda.
So this is a fillet of beef, and this is a master doing this. He's like a surgeon right now.
As peças, animais e nacos de carne encontram-se todos diante dos clientes.
That's the beauty about working in New York City. There's customers that demand top product, whether it be sea urchin at Maria, whether it's a great steak. And the beauty is New York receives the best product of all around the country because there's that market here for it.
Para os La Frieda, a qualidade é definida pela frescura dos produtos. Portanto, os seus colaboradores dormem de dia e cortam carne de noite.
And we really like not cutting anything until it's ordered, because if Michael changes the spec, it's really not a problem. For us, custom tailoring it, it's been a big part of our success.
Without the passion that these people have for their chosen craft, I couldn't do what I do here at Maria.
À medida que o sol nasce, Michael prepara-se para visitar um amigo seu de longa data que adora aquilo que faz e que vive nas montanhas Catskill, um local a 2 horas de Manhattan.
Feel the breeze right now that's kissing all these vegetables. It's like, who wouldn't want to be a vegetable up here, right? I mean, it's important for chefs to make the connection with the farmer, knowing what goes into the product, how he or she grows the vegetable, all these kinds of little details about the growing process that Rick goes through really resonates on the plate.
The berries love the cool nights. When it's cold at night, the sugars condense and they become what we nicknamed mountain sweet, and then that became the name of the farm.
Rick Bishop fornece frutas e legumes frescos a Michael há quase 2 décadas.
I'm really in favor of selecting and breeding for flavor. So that's why I've been seeking out the
As
different growers.
opposed to the way something grows or yields.
Yeah. To a fault sometimes.
Yeah.
You must have dishes that you can't make any money on that are everyone's favorite, though, right?
Tons.
Rick sabe tudo o que há para saber acerca de frutas e legumes frescos.
Italian garlic.
little pink?
It never gets big. It's such a wimpy little plant, but it's so delicious.
Contudo, essa sua paixão acaba por ser quase uma obsessão.
Rick is somebody who has taken the strawberry and brought it to the next level. I mean, somebody who has 213,000 strawberry plants is quasi out of his mind. And that's what makes his strawberries the very, very best.
It's the star of 3 seasons, spring, summer, and fall. And it was developed back in the early 80s by Dr. Gene Galetta in Beltsville, Maryland. And he bred it for flavor. He said, I'm going to develop a strawberry that when you taste it, you'll be glad you're alive. It didn't find a home until I got out of school and we brought it up to the Catskills here. And the little old ladies were like, this is how a strawberry's supposed to taste.
Rick cria novas variedades de frutas e legumes e cruza as mesmas até ficarem perfeitas.
For every 20 things that we think up in our head, maybe one of them kind of sticks.
It takes the same thing in the field. You trial and trial and trial.
Cá, o sucesso é definido com base no sabor.
You do a taste test?
Do a little taste test.
Yeah.
I'm biased to several of them, but
Oh, yeah? Well, don't say anything yet.
purple snow,
Look at those. Look at that purple.
maroon snow, purple snap.
These are just...
Eles estão em busca da ervilha perfeita para uma salada de verão.
Now, the nuances in flavor between the purples and the...
Purples have, you tell me.
Okay. This is a little bit more bitter, amargo.
Acrid, yeah.
Por detrás de toda esta complexidade de sabor há uma filosofia simples e o objetivo de Rick é apenas criar ingredientes perfeitos.
So now that we have all these greens, let's mix them up a little bit, huh?
Já o objetivo de Michael é alterar o menos possível os ingredientes oriundos dos seus fornecedores.
I just have a little bit of olive oil. Is that okay?
Simpler the better.
Simpler the better. We have a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of balsamic, but just a little bit of salt. And, you know, you can just look at that. They're so crispy. Go for it. This is salami that is from southern Italy, from my wife's family. And you can see a little bit of the shiny calabrese. You know, the chili, the oil, the heat in the sun here is coming out. But...
O essencial para uma boa salada são ingredientes simples, misturados lentamente e partilhados com amigos chegados.
I had a professor that summed it up so well, and he said that a farmer that grows food to eat is truly fulfilling his life. So I grow what I like to eat, and it's so true, it's so simple.
Já a seguir, vamos preparar-nos para o maior jantar nova-iorquino do ano, que terá como objetivo comemorar o 4 de julho.
Very cool.
Yeah, so then when we taste cheese, I like to, it's sort of like a multi-sensory experience.
O fim de semana de 4 de julho tem sido pautado por calor e em Nova Iorque o sol está a começar a pôr-se. No entanto, a experiência culinária do chefe Michael White ainda não chegou ao fim e ele vai ao Murray's Cheese em busca de um último ingrediente.
Murray's is unique in the sense that it was one of the first cheesemongers on Bleecker Street that brought in and started aging small formed, larger formed cheeses from Europe.
Aqui, provar queijo é uma experiência que estimula vários dos nossos sentidos.
Tasting cheese in the caves, you usually like break it open with your fingers. You smush it a little bit to get a sense of the body and the texture of it. Then you smell it. It smells a little bit like hazelnuts and caramelized onions, like demi-glace or something. It's like oniony, meaty,
But the
intense
texture is
bouillon
just-
salt kind of flavors to it.
I must have that at the restaurants.
Yeah.
O Murray's tem como especialidade a cura de queijos e é conhecido pelas suas instalações refrigeradas.
All right, so this is the
All right.
pièce de résistance, so to
Oh,
speak.
let me see that. Oh, the fromage. Now we're talking.
Right?
Not that we weren't talking before, but
Right. So this is the natural rind cave. All of the rinds in here
look at that.
are things that form sort of on their own.
Naturally.
This is one of my favorite caves to just ogle.
Este local permite que as bactérias presentes nos queijos deem origem a bolores e leveduras que curam os mesmos e que lhes conferem todo o seu sabor.
So this is an awesome project. We started working with Cornell, it's Cornell University's Dairy Science Department, about a year and a half ago. Our cave master, the guy who runs this whole show, goes up a couple times a year and actually makes cheddar with them in their creamery.
You can get cheeses here that are specific for certain Italian dishes from Piedmont, from Tuscany. Having a cheesemonger like Murray's makes it that much easier to replicate those dishes here in the United States. The color is just
Yeah, that one to me
right.
smells like peanut skins.
Yeah?
It smells like dry roasted peanuts.
I'll buy that.
Após comprados os ingredientes e selecionados os pratos, a cozinha volta a chamar por Michael. Os seus amigos chegarão brevemente para comemorar o Dia da Independência, também conhecido como 4 de julho.
You know, it's kind of a non-traditional 4th of July, but going and seeing what was ripe and fresh at that point, and then putting kind of like a Maria twist on it.
Michael começa por preparar fusilli com trufas negras e rebentes de ervilha e depois dá o cunho do Upper East Side aos típicos hambúrgueres do 4 de julho.
This is a bit of Dijon mustard.
Os seus hambúrgueres contêm carne de vaca maturada, recoberta de trufas e de queijo gruyère, e a sua sobremesa contará com morango, a fruta que não pode faltar no 4 de julho e que desta vez vai ser misturada com mascarpone e posta sobre uma base de pão de ló.
Hodgepodge, melting pot, it's just like New York City.
Esta diversidade de sabores, de caras novas e de amigos de longa data, visa gerar um convívio que permita às pessoas aproveitar a vida e desfrutar desta vista.
Michael White serving the white label.
Right?
On top of the world, baby. Doesn't get much better than this.
People often say, what did you learn when you went to Italy? And I said, you learn, the social fabric of being at the table. People really need to go out and break bread together. The unique part about Italian food is it first starts at the table. Antipasto, pasta, and then secondo and dolce. You just think 4 things. Coming into a Maria, coming into Osteria, if I could give you an hour and a half of this Italian experience of being at the table, taking a minute to enjoy something seduto, this is good.
All right, who's ready for a little bit of TriStar strawberries and dessert, okay?
4th of July is that time of year when everybody gets together and whether they're barbecuing, picnicking, going to watch the fireworks. 4th of July is indulgence.
A experiência culinária de Michael envolveu planear, colher ingredientes, idealizar e cozinhar, mas teve sempre como base a boa e velha hospitalidade que pode ser definida como a inigualável arte de bem receber.
Inside of each and every great chef, if you don't really love food and love making food for people, you can't do this job. It would be impossible. I like to call it the hospitality gene. You can't teach somebody that. They have to have that inside of them.
So, cheers. Thanks very much, Aaron. Thanks for coming over, guys.
Without great hospitality, you can't have a restaurant.
Aceda a cnn.com/journeys para saber mais acerca da experiência culinária de Michael e partilhe as suas aventuras gastronómicas no Instagram utilizando a hashtag CNN Food.